thank you for joining us. We all know the Bay Area is sort of a hotbed, I guess you could call it, of art and artists. Along those lines, Heather Villyard is with us right now. She is Executive Director of ArtSpan, and ArtSpan is a nonprofit, which artists join this. Is that how they
Correct.
do it? They join, you know, and then of course you've got open studios coming up.
Right.
You know, okay. Now, how many artists are involved now? And when you have open studios, they're all in different locations, I know.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. How many artists would be involved in the event that's coming up? 800
to 1,000. We estimate about 1,000 artists actually participate citywide.
It's a scary number.
There's a lot of artists in San Francisco, and that's only
But they're not all from San Francisco, though, right?
Most of them still live and work here, but we are losing a lot of artists to Oakland, our neighbor city. So.
Okay, and so the artists who would like to participate in this, and there may be people who are watching who would like to participate, who does the judging in terms of what work will be shown and where, for example? So
what's unique about ArtSpan is it's a completely democratic organization, so anyone can become a member and participate. So it's a non-juried event, and it has been for 38 years.
Right, that's right. I thought it was, but I wanted to make sure that. Yeah, you're an artist at home, and you say, I'm doing this, I do whatever, and you can show your art somewhere. Yeah, either your studio. How do you find a venue, though?
Usually artists are participating out of their own studios, but more and more workspace in San Francisco is becoming trickier to come by, especially to have the space publicly accessible. So artists either show out of their galleries or their studio, their home, or there's a lot of alternative spaces that host artists just for that weekend.
Okay, well, okay, now I grew up in San Francisco, but suppose I'm just walking down Clement Street, or I'm walking down Mason or something like that, and do I hope that I'm going to find an artist venue? I mean, where's the list?
That actually happened to me when I first moved here from Chicago 10 years ago. I was in North Beach and stumbled upon an open studio, saw the signs, went in, picked up a catalog. It actually did happen that way. So I think there's, you can stumble upon the event because there's so many artists showing in neighborhoods all over San Francisco. But we do have a printed guide that's available at coffee shops, Dick Blick Art Supplies,
That's what I was really asking. Yeah, there's a guide somewhere.
We produce 20,000 copies.
Okay. Now, you work out of your home?
No, we have an office at SoMart's Cultural Center. Yeah.
And what kind of art do you do?
I personally am a sculptor and photographer, but have been on sabbatical because I've been helping other artists for the past several years.
You just raised a point that I really hadn't thought about. So it's open to photography, all kinds of, I mean, it's a wide spectrum.
Glass, painting, sculpture.
Everything, right? Especially now
Jewelry.
with the change in electronic arts and things of that nature.
Yeah. That's a little harder for our demographic because it is primarily two-dimensional based, and artists more and more are working in alternative medias. So it's harder to justify how do you sell that work if it's primarily online. So that's a bigger conversation, I think, of how art's changing, and the internet's playing a huge role in how consumers are absorbing that type of work.
But you will have 800 to 1,000 artists who are participating?
Correct.
There must be some wild examples of art.
Very diverse. Very
diverse?
Diverse.
Is that the word you use?
I would use diverse, yes.
Diverse.
Yeah, because you could go in one studio and they're life drawings, and then you go in another studio and it's, cut up pieces of paper that assemble an entire room that becomes an installation.
Cut out pieces of paper. Wow, I want to see that.
Yeah. It's all, it's something for everybody, for sure.
Okay. And starting October 10th?
October 10th is our big kickoff at SoMart's, which is the ESF Open Studios exhibit. So,
Heather, nice having you here.
Thank you.
All right, and get back to your own artwork.
Heather
Villyard has been our guest, and she's Executive Director of ArtSpan, and the event the Open Studio event is starting October 10th, and it runs for about 4 weeks, I think, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay, thank you for watching.